Hello and welcome to another video. In this one we're gonna be talking about Sweden in Eurovision, and I'm gonna rank their acts since I started watching live Eurovision. Before I start, I have to say that probably Sweden is one of my favorite countries in Eurovision. That doesn't mean that I feel that they should win every year, but I think on average, if I do like an average of how much I like different songs, they would be somewhere in my top 5. It also feels that Sweden either has always been really on point with what Eurovision was asking, or sometimes I feel that maybe Sweden actually decided in which direction Eurovision will go. I've already reviewed all the songs starting from 2005 when I started watching Eurovision, and I have to say it seemed that every year that song seemed to be very on point with what was on demand in that period. So let's see how well commercial songs aged, in my opinion. On number 15 I have Eurovision 2008. It seems that this was just another anthem style song, and that was pretty popular in 2008. Love Will Survive and other cliches like this were very popular in the late 2000s. This might have been an interesting entry back then, but unlike the wine and more like the milk, this act did not get any better with age. On number 14, I have Eurovision 2006. This song was a little bit too vanilla for me. I need some spices. I love Carola as an artist and also as a Eurovision contestant, but this song was definitely not the song for her. She tried so hard to make this song stand out. You can see how much she worked on her stage presence just to give the whole act a little bit more oomph. It just wasn't meant to be for me. The lyrics, the music, the structure of the song, everything was just a little bit too bland. Not bad, but On number 13, I have Eurovision 2005. Was this the most original entry? No. Do I love the chorus? Yes. Maybe in 2020 this looks painfully outdated, even if you take the inspiration in consideration. But in 2005 this was quite fun. That was the fun era in Eurovision, and this act just fit right in. The vocals were not bad at all, and the act altogether was really not that forgettable. On number 12, I have Eurovision 2016. Moving on to the chill sides of Swedish entries, this one tried to hit some emotional strings rather than bop it up. They had this really cute guy, and he seemed like he was so affected by the struggles of his life. The voice, not really the best, but I could see what the act was supposed to be. It didn't really work out as planned in my opinion. But in a year when the show was one of the best, it was hard for an act to stand out, and somehow France ended up in top 5. How? I don't know. Maybe running his hands through his hair and throwing like a cheeky smile to the home crowd was the secret. On number 11, I have Eurovision 2011. Oh my god, this was the definition of commercial music. In the years when Justin Bieber was the Prince Charming for so many girls around the world, it seems like this act altogether was just meant to happen. Not my style of music necessarily, but it obviously did very well in the contest. The lyrics are a little bit too much "I will be popular, my body wants you girl," if you know what I mean. It also seems that his vocals were saved a few too many times by the backing vocals. And I get it, the choreography was a lot, and probably also the best part of the entire act. On number 10 I have Eurovision 2017. 5 years have passed and we see an all grown up Eric Sade. It seems that he's already popular in his neighborhood, but the girl part didn't really work out for him. I do have to say that somehow Robin seems to be singing this song in front of a mirror sometimes. Not sure who came out with this whole idea of let's pretend we are those guys in a club that are extremely full of themselves. But man, no, that's not the way to do it. The music was good commercially. The staging was definitely interesting, but the vibe the song gives altogether is a little bit too weird for my taste in people. On number 9 I have Eurovision 2007. I just love this. In 2007 I was a teenager and this song was just up my alley. I think I drove my sister crazy with how much I was singing this one. I'm just a mortal with potential of a Superman. Did it age well? Not really. At least not considering what came later in Eurovision. But at that time, and coming right after the win of Lord in Eurovision, when all the countries were just sending all their rock acts into the contest, I feel like this was quite a nice twist. Totally out of the character for Sweden in Eurovision. On number 8 I have Eurovision 2010. This felt fresh at that point in Eurovision. 2010 was definitely the year that started this metamorphosis from those goofy and strange acts into let's just pretend we're all extremely chill. The problem is that when you are on stage in front of all those people and knowing how many more people are watching you from back home, it's quite hard to keep it cool. Anna seemed to be extremely nervous sometimes. I liked that feeling of vulnerable, but it was noticeable how much she wanted to move around and do stuff. But instead, she stayed still in front of a mic stand for 3/4 of the act. Overall, a really nice song, but kind of a weird decision to do the staging that way. On number 7 I have Eurovision 2009. I have one regret about this entry, that it happened in 2009. In this era of Eurovision, I think this song would have slayed. It has the wow factor, it has the popish not really my style parts, and it has la voix. I remember back then how impressed I was that an act like this was in Eurovision. I would have worked maybe a little bit more on the verse. The chorus totally kills it, but I do get it, they needed to make everyone happy. In the end, that's how the contest works. On number 6 I have Eurovision 2018. Let's start with the concept of the staging here, because I totally love it. This live video feeling, it's really truly awesome. Probably in top 5 ideas for staging for me. The song I also love, I'm totally vibing with it. His voice also seemed to be a few times kind of saved by the backing vocalist, but in this situation this does not bother me as much. But please, for the love of God, stop doing that thing with your head. There must be someone in the Swedish team, and definitely are not the artists, that do confuse being confident with being douchey. No one likes to be picked up by a person that tells them that they want to be popular and their body wants them, nor by guys that seem that they're just staring in the mirror the whole time giving themselves compliments, or in this case by a guy that seems to have some sort of a spasm every time he's trying to look at a girl. In real life, this is not working. On number 5 I have Eurovision 2014. Do you remember my sister? Well, in 2014 this was her favorite song. And I do agree, this was a great entry. It is more on the empowering ballad side of the music, but in this case it's really done very correctly. The lyrics actually tell a story and is not just about being a catchy anthem. The staging and the voice helped greatly to tell this story. The beams of light just meeting above her head and putting her in some sort of a light prison, and then she ends up in the dark. I just love it. On number 4 I have Eurovision 2013. Now this is my style of a story. The underdog coming back and qualifying. For some reason though, people hated the song. And I mean, why? Could this have been just another act that suffered by that illness that happens in Eurovision where my favorite was better thing happens? Very probably. Watch this act and answer honestly. Was it a bad staging? Free and chill? Was it a bad voice? Come on, obviously not. Was the message uninspired? For sure not. And the high notes were really good? In the end, I just love the song and honestly, it was in my top 3 that year. On number 3 I have Eurovision 2015. I love how this song starts. Again, it tells an actual story. Even if the purpose of the chorus is more to make the song catchy, it still feels genuinely inspirational. The songwriting is just awesome and the staging was so impressive that the next year Russia and Iceland tried to use the same concept. For one of them this worked out really well, for the other not that much. Also in this act, let's not forget Mons. He did a great job both during the contest and also in the pre-ESC period. Great in interviews, legit friendly, and not too shabby when it came to looks. Hashtag leather pants for the win. On number 2 I have Eurovision 2019. It is never too late to love this entry. It has this oldies feeling to it, but it works perfectly. The voices are all good. It doesn't sound like the backing vocalist, the mamas, or trying to save John, but they are there rather just to bring a change to the song, and I totally welcome it. I do have to admit though, this was more of a grower than a shower. When I listened to it the first time, it did not have the same impact as it had the 10th time, but more and more I listened to it, it just dragged me in, to the point where right now I know all the lyrics. On number 1, I have Eurovision 2012. This is my all-time favorite winner. I'm not saying it's my favorite song or the best song, but it's my favorite winner. It was a full act. Choreography, drama, mystery, moves, and great voice. And this one actually managed to do what Eric Sade's act did not, to become popular. Maybe the secret was just a little bit less cockiness and a little bit more focusing on the songwriting. More than that, what can I say? Everyone knows Loreen. And if you don't, happy 10th birthday, I guess. So these were my opinions about the Swedish entries. I hope I wasn't too harsh. I don't think I was. Overall, I really think that Sweden is one of the best countries in Eurovision. And it seems that they're always exactly in the spot where the music is in that period. If I would have one wish from Sweden is to try also to go a little bit out of the box every now and then. Send a crazy act. Do it Moldova style. Which one is your Swedish favorite act? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget about our meeting every Saturday for the trivia night. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this type of content. And until I see you in my next video, please stay safe. Now we have a little bit more freedom, but still be cautious. Bye guys, have a great week.